Today I'm joined by Diego Lorijn, Barca TV presenter. He's also co-host of Churros y Tácticas. Did I pronounce it right?
Yes, sir. Churros. Let the arts
Churros.
roll.
Churros. Diego accepted my invitation to discuss some Barca topics for Bosnian followers. So Diego, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Adi. It's an absolute pleasure.
Yesterday, Barcelona lost against Sevilla, and now they have mountain to climb in the second leg of Copa del Rey semi-final. 2 years ago, it was the same result in the first game. What happened in the rematch was a true masterclass by Barca players. What are your thoughts on yesterday's game, and do Messi and his teammates still have ability to turn things around?
Look, Adi, I think so. I want to believe so. I think that the result is, we say in Spanish, engañoso. It's misleading. I don't think that Barca deserved to lose 2-0. I think it was more a match where a draw, maybe a 1-0 draw would have been a fair result. I think in the first half, we didn't see much offensive action from Barca, but it was a good Bono stop that stopped Messi from scoring. And just a great individual play from Koundé that allowed Sevilla to go up one. I think, you could see, I think the minutes was getting to this team at this point. I think up until this point so far this year, 2021, the whole month of January, and what we've seen so far in February, what has stood out to me was just how physically fit this team has been, despite the fact that they have played so many extra minutes in the Supercopa, of course, going into extra time penalties, and in the Copa del Rey as well. So many matches back to back away from home. I think this was, if I'm not mistaken, the ninth consecutive away match where they could have won 8 consecutive away matches. And that's excluding the Supercopa. So my point being is that there's been a lot of traveling, a lot of extra minutes, a lot of mileage on these legs. And I think that was evident in particular in the second half. Messi wasn't as inspired as we saw him on other occasions. I think Griezmann as well was not what we have seen from him so far this year, 2021. De Jong, we were used to seeing him play just at an excellent level so far this year as well. Yesterday, he worked hard, but I think offensively, his talent and his creation was missing. But I think the 2-0 was excessive, and that's not taking anything away from Lopetegui and his game plan and his players. I mean, Sevilla and Barca have been, for me at least, I think for most pundits as well, the two standout teams in La Liga so far this year. With the exception of Atlético de Madrid, of course, who are still leaders. But, I have to have faith, of course. I do. It's somewhat become synonymous with Ronald Koeman's team, these comeback wins. And I was expecting a goal to go in at some point yesterday. It didn't happen. But, despite the mammoth task that is, ahead of them, as you mentioned, and rightfully so, Sevilla is the team that has conceded the least amount of goals so far this year as well than any other La Liga team. So, despite all those things, I have to have faith in this team to at least attempt to come back. And 90 minutes in the Camp Nou, as Capello once said about the Bernabeu, son molto longo. Well, you can apply the exact same saying for the Camp Nou. 90 minutes in the Camp Nou is a very long time for a team to come out with an ultra defensive game plan, which I think Lopetegui will adapt. He is not a team that scores excessive goals, a team that does like to enjoy possession, but that offensively, I think, lacks the firing power that Barca has. So, the hope is there. Whether they can overcome this challenge is to be seen. Barca has struggled against big La Liga sides, the Atléticos, the Real Madrid, Sevilla itself as well. They have not managed to beat big sides like that. So it's the biggest test that they've had, so far in front of them.
Speaking of players, last summer Barca completed a signing of Bosnian international Miralem Pjanić. Mainly due to game time, he did not meet the expectations. Here in Bosnia, many people, of course, find coach Koman guilty. You have interviewed Miralem not so long ago. What is your take on him as a person and his situation at the club?
Well, I mean, Miralem is a person. I didn't know much about him. When he first popped up on my radar back in, was it 2008? I believe it was when Barca played Lyon in the Champions League, and the away leg, I think, finished in the tie, and then the home leg was an absolute slaughter by Barca, where we managed to quite easily beat Lyon. But I remember Rijkaard, I think it was Rijkaard or Tenkate, the assistant coach, talk about the potential interest that Barca had at the time in Miralem. It didn't happen, of course. He went from Lyon to Roma, and eventually to Juve, and he did come now. So he was a player that after the first time that Rijkaard mentioned him, popped up on my radar again when, of course, he knocked out Real Madrid at the Champions League with a fantastic goal when he was still playing at Lyon. 2010, I think that was. Dates are a bit confusing now. But so the point being is, when he arrived, I got the chance to interview him. I was really quite, not just pleasantly surprised. I would even go so far to say quite mesmerized and admired, in admiration of him as a person, right? His story, I think, is something that really is really compelling and engaged me very much so when I was talking with him. Obviously, I had my studying about him and his story leading up to the interview. But doing the interview itself and just hearing the words come from him, his story, how his father had to immigrate, away from Bosnia, a war-torn country at the time, and playing minor leagues, and eventually getting a contract in Luxembourg that also allowed him to have a job and play football. I think it was semi-professional football, if I'm not mistaken. And basically, find greener pastures for his family. And Miralem, obviously being still a boy at the time, meant that he was going to have a much more secure childhood. It was just a fantastic story, heartwarming story, and one of triumph as well. I think for everybody, just a case, or it goes to show that you can, with hard work and dedication, you can achieve your dreams. Who would have said that an immigrant from Bosnia would make it to play for the biggest clubs in Europe, growing up in Luxembourg, eventually, playing for, was it Lille, or what was the team that recruited him for when he was a young boy playing in Luxembourg? I forget now.
Maybe Metz. I'm not really sure.
Was it Metz? Sorry, it was Metz. Yes,
Metz.
You're absolutely right. That's it, Adi. Metz. So again, that those kind of stories, very much appeal to me. Instantly, I look up to that person because they've managed to overcome just such obstacles that are hard to fathom for most of us growing up in the Western world, with all the security and luxury that we are just almost take for granted and grow accustomed to. So him as a person, I mean, I was just, and mesmerized and really quite overwhelmed by just how nice and approachable he was, and how generous with his time, really eloquent in the way that he talks. He's obviously very intelligent. He speaks, I think it's 5 or 6 languages or something at this point as well. So clearly here he's completely there. He's surrounded by good people as well. His family, you can tell that he's comes from a loving background. So yeah, just nothing but good words, and an absolute pleasure to talk with him. Now it is true that, of course, his arrival at Barca was not exempt of controversy. It was a swap deal with somebody who became very beloved by the Barca fans, Artur Melo, and somebody who we Barca fans had placed a lot of hope in the future in, because Artur, as you might remember, came with the tag that he was the replacement of Xavi Hernandez. Of course, those are big words. But he kind of fit that Barca mold, and that was not so much known about Miralem Pjanić, whether he would or would not fit the Barca DNA mold, as we call it, right? Of course, he has quite a few more years as well. I think he's 31, and the price tag that he arrived at, all of those things were kind of, I guess, put his arrival into somewhat scrutiny or question amongst the general Barca fans. But I think he accepted that challenge. I think he really arrived with a willingness to, win the hearts and minds over of the Barca fans, and willingness to work, as hard as possible, as he's done his entire life and professional career. So, he won me over pretty much instantly. And I really had my hopes set that he would become an integral part of Koeman's system in the double pivot system, which I thought, he would fit seamlessly in, seeing as Koeman is quite a believer in the double pivot formation, as opposed to the 4-3-3, where in the 4-3-3 I was a little bit more concerned, because I think he would needed more time to adjust. And again, I'm talking, of course, all of this about his arrival in August, in the beginning of the season, when it was yet to start. So, yeah, that kind of sums it up.
To consider our conversation, let's say, complete about Blaugrana, we need to talk about one specific Argentinian guy. Lionel Messi is yet to sign a contract extension with the club. Do you think there is still a chance left for Messi to sign a new deal? And if not, how much of a loss that would be for the future of the club?
Wow, Adi. That's the $1 million question, right? As they so say. So let me get this straight. You're asking me if there's hope that he will sign another contract?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. I think there's hope. I think, we still have to see, of course, who will win the presidency, right? Who will become the president-elect of Football Club Barcelona. I think, the polls show that the two favorites, the big favorite, the big standout is, of course, ex-president Joan Laporta. There's no doubt that he is the front runner at this moment in time as well. I think Victor Font is still in with a good chance of making it hard for Joan Laporta to become president. So we will have to see what happens in the debates. I'm very excited and quite anxious for this for the debates to start to happen, and for all of the candidates involved to properly lay out their plans from a sporting perspective for the different categories, the different sporting categories, what they have in mind for Barca as an institution, as a business, as an entertainment company. Of course, I work for Barca Studios, for Barca TV Plus, so it's in my interest very much to know what the plans are, the future plans of the presidential candidates. But it's no secret that Joan Laporta has got a head up over the other candidates, seeing as his relationship with Leo Messi is one. I don't want to exaggerate here. I don't want to call it a father-son-like relationship, but Joan Laporta was there when Messi was just starting, right? When he was a 16, 17-year-old boy making his debut and his entrance to the Barca first team, and those initial contracts, negotiations, and signings that occurred between Laporta and Messi certainly cemented a good relationship, one of trust, I believe, or at least that's what Jan says, or that's what Laporta says. We haven't heard much from Messi with regards to this, and I think rightfully so. But the general sense is that look, there is hope. There has to be hope. Messi is synonymous to Barcelona, the city, and of course, Football Club Barcelona, the club. He arrived here as a kid, and we grew up together. Club and Messi, I think we both benefited from each other's services that we lent to each other. And we both grew up into becoming, just the immense powerhouses that we are today. Messi being the GOAT, the indisputable GOAT, if you ask me, of football of all time. the greatest of all time, and Barca becoming just a next level football club, and up there with the very best, the Man U's, the Real Madrid's, etc. In terms of a club that generates revenue, it's the front runner. I think also from a digital perspective and a content perspective, Barca is well ahead of its competitors at the moment. And then from a sporting perspective, of course, it's the mission never stops, and a club like Barca always has to continue to win more each and every single season. The trophies have to come in, otherwise it's deemed an unsuccessful season. So and that demand, that esa exigencia, that exigence, I don't know, that demand, right, from our fans, and that the club demands from itself to be the utmost best each and every single season, has to be there. Otherwise, if you kind of sit back and become satisfied with having an off season, I think that's when a club like Barca just simply cannot permit that, right? Slipping from that sort of level of exigencia, the word I cannot now think, that kind of level of commitment, I guess, to win each and every year. Adi, what was the second part of that question? I went on a tangent, a rant here.
That's it, about how much of a blow that would be, which you answered.
Well, how much of a blow? Yeah, I mean, look, it's of course, I mean, there's the whole financial perspective, right? I mean, it's no secret that financially Barca right now are on delicate grounds. The fact that Messi is a football player that, of course, earns a tremendous amount of money is, and rightfully so, don't get me wrong, but that right now is somewhat of a tough situation, delicate situation for a club like Barca to deal with. The way that the salaries have been, it's a little bit difficult for me to kind of, I guess, voice my opinion on this, but it's it's a delicate situation for Barca, but I hope that with the the right, what is also an obvious fact is that if Barca has been paying these kind of sums of money to Messi, it's also because he generates so much money. So if Messi were to move on, of course, Barca there's a perspective that people say, well, Barca would be alleviated from paying such a high wage. That is certainly true. However, Barca would also have to renounce on earning as a club so much money, which Messi generates. My point being is that it's all proportional, right? It's if Messi earns so much, is because he generates so much money. So it is up to the next board and the president and his the finance people to obviously find a good common ground, a middle ground, and a good solution that, of course, will allow Barca to continue to be prosperous and healthy, both from a sporting perspective as well as to be financially and fiscally a responsible institution. And that I mean, it's something that is hard for me to kind of voice my opinion on when I don't know all of the details neither.
In conclusion, we can say that elections are very, very important in this moment for
Absolutely.
the future of the club.
Absolutely. I mean, I think, in my lifetime, in my 30 plus years that I've been following and I've been member of Barca, it's the most important elections.
There's hope, definitely. That will be all from us today. Once again, Diego, we thank you for your time. It's really been a pleasure.
Listen, before we cut this interview, I want to give as well hope to the people in Bosnia with regards to Miralema Pjanić. I understand the frustration that he's not getting the minutes that you guys would like to see on Ronald Koeman. I still have hope that he can and will adjust to this current system. I think it's a matter of minutes and time, really. right now it's a difficult season. The condensed schedule doesn't necessarily make it easier, neither for players to adjust to new systems, right? But I guess my message here is that us here in Barcelona, we've got so far nothing but good words when it comes to Miralema Pjanić, the person, and we're also very eager to see, of course, him contribute more on the pitch. So we're keeping our fingers crossed and we're staying optimistic.
Thank you on your kind words and messages for Bosnian followers. I wish you all the best. Thank you once again.
Likewise, Adi, all the best to you and good luck.